The call from the void. The message drifted through the void, a digital plea wrapped in deteriorating signal integrity. For 3 standard galactic cycles, it had bounced between relay stations and communication hubs, passed from one bureaucratic desk to another within the Grand Galactic Federation. The message was simple: help us, we are dying. In the gleaming spires of the Federation's central administration on Nexus Prime, Senior Administrator Thiliv studied the report on his holo-display with 6 disinterested eyes. His slender fingers, evolved for precision in the low gravity of his homeworld, tapped a dismissal code. Another distress call from the outer rim, he said to his assistant, a gelatinous Mokin whose translucent body rippled with communication nodes. File it under further assessment required, and send the standard acknowledgement. The signal originates near Sector 19, the assistant noted, a hint of concern in its synthesized voice. Thiliv's membrane ridges stiffened, the equivalent of a frown. The human sector. All the more reason to avoid involvement. Those Deathworlders are unpredictable and dangerous. The caller species isn't human, the assistant clarified. Initial analysis suggests it's from a non-Federation world designated Kilora. Irrelevant. Thiliv waved dismissively. Too close to human space. The Federation Council has been clear. Minimal contact with humans and their neighboring systems. They're too aggressive. The assistant didn't argue. Everyone knew humans were trouble. Evolved on a high-gravity planet with extreme weather patterns and an abundance of predators, humans had developed traits that most civilized species found disturbing. Physical resilience, rapid adaptability, and an alarming tendency toward violence when threatened. When humans had first developed faster-than-light travel and petitioned to join the Federation 80 cycles ago, the Council had deliberated for less than a standard day before rejecting them. Humans were deemed incompatible with galactic harmony. So the message from Kilora was archived, buried beneath thousands of other non-critical matters. The Federation had existed for 10 millennia by avoiding unnecessary conflicts and maintaining the status quo. One small planet's problems weren't worth risking contact with the volatile humans. The distress call continued its lonely journey through the cosmos. Captain Maya Chen stood at the viewport of the Earth exploration vessel Defiant, watching the stars blur past as they cruised at standard FTL. At 35, she had the compact build of someone born in Earth's higher gravity regions, with dark eyes that missed nothing and the quiet confidence of someone who'd earned their command the hard way. "Captain," called Lieutenant Raj Patel from the communications station. "We're picking up an unusual signal. It's weak but consistent." Maya crossed the bridge in 4 quick strides. "Source." "Difficult to pinpoint exactly," Raj said, his fingers dancing across his console. "It's been bounced through multiple relay points, but I believe the origin is approximately 3 light-years off our plotted course." "Composition." "Definitely artificial. Pattern suggests a distress call using one of the older universal emergency frequencies." Raj looked up, his expression troubled. "According to the timestamp, it's been broadcasting for over 3 galactic cycles. 3 cycles without response." First Officer David Okonko's deep voice carried across the bridge. He stood from his station, arms folded across his broad chest. "Federation territory." "Technically, no," Raj replied. "It's coming from unaligned space, but within the Federation's claimed sphere of influence." Maya's eyes narrowed. "Play it." The bridge speakers crackled to life. The message wasn't in any human language, but the universal translator embedded in the ship's systems quickly converted it. "Anyone who hears this, Kilora begs assistance. Autonomous harvesters, destroying our cities. Our people dying. Federation received our messages, but no help comes. Please, resources to trade. Will reward. Dying." Silence fell across the bridge. Maya met David's gaze, seeing her own thoughts reflected there. "Nav," she said to the navigation officer, "how far off course would we be?" 3 days at standard FTL, Captain. We'd miss our rendezvous with the supply station at Proxima Outpost." Lieutenant Commander Vega, the ship's security chief, cleared her throat. Captain, our orders are clear. We're to chart the Nixian Nebula and return to Earth space without deviation. Earth Union regulations prohibit. I know the regulations, Commander, Maya interrupted gently. She turned back to communications. Raj, any Federation response on record to this distress call? Raj checked his console. Yes, Captain. Standard acknowledgements sent 18 months ago. No follow-up actions documented. Maya nodded once. Decision made. Nav, plot a course to the signal origin. Maximum safe FTL. David stepped closer, lowering his voice. Maya, the Federation has made it clear they don't want humans interfering in their affairs. We're not entering Federation space, she replied quietly. And someone out there has been calling for help for 3 years, while the almighty Federation has done nothing. The Union won't like this, David warned. We could be risking diplomatic incidents. Maya's lips curved in a small, tight smile. Then let's not tell them until after we've helped whoever is calling. She turned to address the entire bridge crew. I understand the risks involved in this decision. If anyone has objections they wish to formally register, now is the time. The bridge remained silent. Very well, Maya nodded. Let's see what's happening on Kilora. The Defiant dropped out of FTL with a flash of Cherenkov radiation, settling into orbit around a small blue-green world. Initial scans revealed a habitable atmosphere, temperate climate, and extensive oceans. They also showed something else. Captain, said the sensor officer, her voice tight with concern, I'm detecting massive environmental disruption on the surface. Large-scale excavation patterns across the southern continent. And the cities. She looked up, face pale. Most of them appeared to be in ruins. Maya leaned over the displays. The devastation was obvious even to an untrained eye. Entire sections of forest had been stripped away, leaving barren ground. What had once been cities were now little more than rubble. Life signs, she asked. Present but scattered. Population centers are drastically reduced from what the infrastructure suggests once existed. I estimate current population at under 50,000 individuals, concentrated in 3 locations. And the cause? David asked. The sensor officer adjusted her scans. I'm detecting approximately 200 autonomous units moving across the planet's surface. They appear to be mining or harvesting equipment, but heavily modified with defensive capabilities. Origin, based on design profiles in our database. Starlight Extraction Enterprises, a Federation-registered mining corporation. Maya's expression hardened. So a Federation corporation is systematically stripping a non-Federation planet while its people die, and the Federation itself is doing nothing. That about sums it up, Captain, David said grimly. Any sign of CE personnel on the surface? Negative, replied the sensor officer. The harvesters appear to be fully automated. However, I am detecting a small control facility on the northern continent, likely directing the operation remotely. Maya straightened. Tactical assessment. Lieutenant Commander Vega stepped forward. The harvesters aren't military grade, but they're equipped with defensive systems capable of significant damage. The control facility has minimal protection. Likely they weren't expecting resistance. Their mistake, Maya said softly. She turned to David. Prepare a landing party. Let's make contact with the survivors. The shuttle descended through wispy clouds toward one of the remaining population centers. From the air, it looked like a refugee camp, hastily constructed shelters clustered together, surrounded by a makeshift barrier of scavenged materials. As they landed, Maya could see figures emerging from the shelters, watching cautiously. The Kilori were striking beings, tall and graceful with iridescent skin that shifted colors in the sunlight. They had 4 slender arms and large, luminous eyes that dominated their triangular faces. Maya led her team out of the shuttle, hands empty and visible. One Kilori approached, their skin shifting to a cautious blue-green. Around their neck hung a small device that presumably served as a translator. I am Elanus, the Kilori said, voice melodic despite the translator's mechanical overtones. Chief Elder of the Western Haven. You are humans. The question carried surprise and perhaps a trace of fear. Maya nodded. Captain Maya Chen of the Earth exploration vessel Defiant. We received your distress call. Elanus's skin rippled with an emotion Maya couldn't interpret. The Federation said they would not send help. They said our situation was not critical. We're not from the Federation, Maya clarified. Earth is independent. The Deathworlders, whispered another Kilori standing nearby. The dangerous ones. Maya didn't flinch at the designation. Humans had long since grown accustomed to how other species viewed them. We're here to help, if you'll accept it. Elanus studied them for a long moment. Then their skin shifted to a deep purple. Perhaps it takes dangerous beings to face a dangerous situation. Please follow me. The elder led them through the settlement. Everywhere Maya looked, she saw signs of a peaceful species utterly unprepared for catastrophe. The Kilori moved with fluid grace, their society clearly built around cooperation rather than competition. But now many were injured, their normally luminescent skin dulled with illness or trauma. In a larger shelter that served as an infirmary, Elanus showed them holographic maps of the planet. The harvesters came 5 cycles ago, they explained. At first, they operated only in uninhabited regions. We are a peaceful people. We believed sharing our world's resources was possible. Their skin darkened. But the machines kept expanding their operation. When we attempted communication, they simply began treating us as obstacles to be removed. How many of your people have been lost? David asked quietly. We once numbered 20 million, Elanus replied. Now fewer than 40,000 remain. The humans exchanged grim glances. What are they mining? Maya asked. A mineral your kind might call stellarite. It's used in advanced energy systems. Maya knew it well. Stellarite was one of the most valuable resources in known space, crucial for next-generation FTL drives and energy production. Earth had been searching for new sources for years. The Federation knows this is happening. Lieutenant Commander Vega asked, her voice tight with barely controlled anger. We sent hundreds of messages, Elanus confirmed. They acknowledged receipt 18 months ago, but said further assessment was required before intervention could be considered. Maya's jaw tightened, and meanwhile, your people are dying. We have no weapons, Captain, Elanus said simply. The Kilori evolved without significant predators. We developed art, philosophy, healing, not war. Maya looked around at the refugees, at the injured and the dying, at a peaceful people being systematically exterminated because they happened to live on a planet with valuable resources. Well, she said quietly, it's a good thing humans did. Back on the Defiant, Maya called her senior officers together. The situation was clear, the decision obvious. Starlight Extraction has no legal claim to this planet, she stated. The Kilori were here first, and they never consented to this operation. Under Earth Union law, this constitutes an ongoing genocide. With respect, Captain, said Commander Morris, the ship's legal officer, we have no jurisdiction here. Sometimes doing what's right means ignoring jurisdiction, Maya replied. I'm not asking anyone to follow orders blindly. This is volunteer only. David leaned forward. What exactly are you proposing, Captain? We're one exploration vessel against 200 harvester machines, and potentially CE reinforcements if they realize what's happening. Maya smiled, and there was something in that smile that reminded everyone in the room why humans had a reputation in the galaxy. The Kilori evolved without predators, without the need to fight, she said. But humans, we came from a world that tried to kill us every day. Our entire history is overcoming impossible odds. She tapped a control, bringing up a schematic of the Harvester Control Facility. We're going to show Starlight Extraction and the Federation why Deathworlders should never be underestimated. The plan took shape quickly. They would disable the control facility, shutting down the harvesters. Meanwhile, teams would work with the Killori to develop defenses against any machines that continued operating autonomously. As the meeting concluded, Chief Engineer Rosario asked the question everyone was thinking. "Captain, even if we succeed, what then? The Federation won't be happy about humans interfering." "Interfering? One problem at a time, Chief," Maya replied. "First, we save the Killori. Then we'll deal with the politics." The officers filed out, preparing for the mission ahead. Maya remained alone, staring at the tactical display showing the control facility and surrounding harvesters. The odds were heavily against them. One ship against an entrenched corporate operation, with the Federation's tacit approval. But if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was beating impossible odds. After all, that's what happens when you evolve on a death world. Maya tapped her comm. "Bridge, this is the captain. Begin Operation Lifeline. Let's show the galaxy what humans do when someone calls for help." Defiance of the Deathworlders. Dawn broke over the Killori refugee camp as Maya finalized for strategy with the landing teams. The plan was audacious but simple. Humans excelled at both audacity and simplicity when necessary. "This is a precision operation," Maya told the assembled crew members. "Team Alpha will target the control facility. Teams Beta and Gamma will establish defensive positions at the two largest Killori settlements. We move in 6 hours." As the teams dispersed to prepare, Elanis approached Maya, skin shimmering with an anxious blue-violet pattern. "Your people risk much for strangers," the elder said softly. "The harvesters have killed many who stood in their path." Maya nodded. "We understand the risks. Yet you still choose to help us. Why?" It was a question Maya had been asked before by other species. Humans were an enigma to most of the galaxy, viewed as dangerous and unpredictable, yet occasionally displaying what seemed like irrational altruism. "Because it's the right thing to do," she said simply. "On Earth, we have a saying. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing." "The Federation did nothing," Elanis observed. "We're not the Federation," Maya replied. She turned as David approached with a young Killori whose skin rippled with unusual patterns of gold and crimson. "Captain, this is Taven," David introduced. "He's volunteered to guide Team Alpha through the northern terrain to the control facility." Taven's 4 hands moved in graceful patterns as he spoke. "I was a geological surveyor before the harvesters came. I know paths through the mountains that even their sensors cannot detect." "Taven is taking a great risk," Elanis said. "Few Killori would choose to move toward danger rather than away from it." The young Killori's skin flushed a deep amber. "I have watched our people die while hiding. If these humans can teach us another way, I wish to learn." Maya studied him thoughtfully. "Sometimes courage isn't about not feeling fear. It's about acting despite it." "A very human concept," Elanis remarked. "Perhaps," Maya smiled slightly, "but one anyone can learn." The Defiant maintained orbit, sensors scanning constantly for any sign of Federation or corporate vessels. Meanwhile, 3 teams deployed to the surface, each with specific objectives. Lieutenant Commander Vega led Team Alpha toward the northern mountains where the control facility was hidden. With her were 5 crew members and Taven, moving swiftly through dense forest that had not yet been reached by the harvesters. "Different from Earth," commented Ensign Rodriguez, eyeing the peculiar flora with its spiral patterns and luminescent undergrowth. "But beautiful in its own way," Taven said. "These forests have existed for thousands of cycles. The harmony was perfect." Vega checked her tactical display. 3 harvesters operating 2 kilometers east. "We should remain undetected if we keep to this route." They continued in silence, the humans automatically falling into defensive formations, a behavior so ingrained they barely noticed doing it. Taven watched with fascination. "You move like water around stones," he observed, "always finding the safest path, always protecting each other." "Basic training," Rodriguez replied with a shrug. When you grow up on a world with predators, you learn to watch each other's backs. We had no predators on Kilora, Tavim said quietly. Perhaps that was our downfall. Vega shook her head. No, being peaceful isn't a weakness. Having your home stolen by corporations with no regard for life, that's not your fault. They crested a ridge, and there in the valley below sat their target, a prefabricated structure surrounded by automated defense turrets and sensor arrays, not particularly imposing by military standards, but formidable enough against an unarmed population. Standard Federation corporate security setup, Vega assessed, designed to deter thieves and wildlife, not withstand a coordinated attack. She tapped her comm. Alpha team in position. Target confirmed. Copy that. Maya's voice replied. All teams synchronized. Operation commences in 5 minutes. At the largest Kilori settlement, David watched the countdown on his tactical display. Team Beta had established a defensive perimeter, instructing the Kilori on basic evacuation procedures should things go wrong. What happens if you succeed? Asked Vereen, a Kilori healer whose skin shifted between calming shades of blue and green. When we succeed, David corrected gently, the harvesters should shut down, or at least stop functioning cohesively. But we need to be prepared for any that might continue operating independently. And after that, Vereen pressed. The corporation will simply send more machines, more people. David met her luminous gaze, one problem at a time. Right now, we stop the immediate threat. Then we call home. Home. Earth, David said. The word carried weight, possibility. Humans take care of our friends. The countdown reached 0. It begins, he said. At the control facility, chaos erupted with precise coordination. Team Alpha deploy electromagnetic pulse devices at strategic points, while the Defiant launched targeted communications jamming from orbit. Inside the facility, 3 Federation technicians manning the control systems found themselves suddenly facing armed humans, a sight few Federation citizens had ever encountered. This facility is now under Earth Union control, Vega announced, her weapon held steady but not threatening. Surrender, and you will not be harmed. The technicians, thin-limbed Tessarians with wide-set eyes, raised their 6-fingered hands in immediate surrender. They were corporate employees, not soldiers. What is the meaning of this? Demanded one, his translator struggling with his agitated, clicking speech. This operation is authorized by Starlight Extraction Enterprises under Federation Commercial Code. This operation constitutes genocide against the native Kilori population. Vega cut him off. Under Earth Union law and galactic humanitarian principles, we are terminating it. The technicians exchanged horrified glances. The what population? One whispered. Rodriguez stepped forward, interfacing with the control systems. They didn't even know, she said with disgust. The corporation never told them there were sentients here. Plausible deniability, Vega said darkly. Wouldn't be the first time. With practiced efficiency, her team took control of the system. Within minutes, Rodriguez had access to the Harvester command protocols. Interesting architecture, she noted. They're using a distributed neural network for optimization, but it all routes through this central hub. Captain, I can shut them down from here. Do it, Maya ordered through the comm. Rodriguez initiated the shutdown sequence. Across the planet, harvesters froze in place, their cutting implements and drills powering down mid-operation. All units deactivated, she reported. System locked and secured. The facility's senior technician stared in disbelief. You realize what you've done. This is a 1 billion credit operation. Starlight will send security forces. Let them, Vega replied calmly. We'll be waiting. In orbit, Maya received the confirmation from all teams. Phase 1 had succeeded without casualties. Now came the more difficult part. Communications, send the coded transmission to Earth Union Command. Include all our documentation of the situation here. Transmitting now, Captain, Raj confirmed. Estimated response time: 6 hours. That would be a tense 6 hours. Maya had technically violated Earth Union protocols by interfering in what could arguably be classified as a Federation commercial dispute, if Command didn't support her decision. The sensor officer interrupted her thoughts. "Captain, multiple ships dropping out of FTL. Federation signatures." Maya straightened in her chair. "Tactical assessment. 3 vessels, Captain. 1 diplomatic cruiser and 2 corporate security ships. Starlight extraction markings." "Well," Maya said dryly, "that was faster than I expected. Shields up, but weapons on standby only. Let's not fire the first shot." The Federation diplomatic cruiser hailed them immediately. On screen appeared a Valaxian diplomat, their crystalline features arranged in what humans had learned to recognize as extreme displeasure. "Captain Chen of Earth Vessel Defiant," the diplomat began without preamble, "you are interfering with authorized Federation commercial activities. Withdraw immediately or face serious diplomatic consequences." Maya stood, hands clasped behind her back. "Ambassador, I am protecting an indigenous sentient species from genocide. The Kalori sent distress calls for 3 years while their people were being systematically exterminated. The Federation acknowledged these calls and did nothing." "The situation is more complex than you understand, Captain," the ambassador replied stiffly. "Starlight Extraction has legal mining rights in this sector. To uninhabited worlds." Maya interrupted. "Kilora is not uninhabited. It is home to the Kilori, an advanced, peaceful civilization that your Federation has chosen to ignore because acknowledging them would interfere with corporate profits." The ambassador's features shifted uncomfortably. "We had incomplete information. You had their distress calls for 3 years," Maya said flatly. "My ship had their distress call for 3 days before we acted. We've documented everything: the devastation, the refugee camps, the death toll. 20 million reduced to 40,000. I'm transmitting it all to both Earth Union Command and, out of courtesy, to your ship as well." As the data transfer began, the ambassador's expression changed subtly. "The corporate security vessels are powering weapons," the tactical officer reported quietly. Maya held the ambassador's gaze. "Tell your corporate friends that if they fire on my ship while we're protecting genocide survivors, Earth will consider it an act of war. And while you may think humans are uncivilized Deathworlders, I promise you don't want to find out what we're capable of when genuinely provoked." A tense silence followed. Then the ambassador nodded to someone off-screen. "Security vessels, stand down," they ordered. "This situation requires further assessment." Maya allowed herself a small smile. "A wise decision, Ambassador. Now, perhaps we can discuss humanitarian aid for the Kilori." The standoff continued for 5 hours. The corporate ships maintained position, but did not attack. The Federation diplomatic vessel sent shuttles to the surface, ostensibly to verify Maya's claims about the Kilori. "They're stalling," David observed as they watched the diplomatic teams interviewing Kilori refugees, "waiting to see if Earth backs us or hangs us out to dry." "Probably," Maya agreed. "But every hour we give the Kilori is an hour they don't spend dying." The wait ended abruptly when sensors detected new ships arriving. A full Earth Union humanitarian fleet led by the heavy cruiser Indomitable. Admiral Cheng's weathered face appeared on the main view screen. "Captain Chen, I see you've been busy." Maya stood at attention. "Admiral, I take full responsibility for my actions." The Admiral's expression remained stern, but there was a glint in his eyes. "Your transmission caused quite a stir at command. The Defense Council was split between court-martialing you and giving you a medal." Maya waited, unflinching. "Fortunately," Cheng continued, "the President was unequivocal. Her exact words were, 'Tell Captain Chen that Earth protects those who cannot protect themselves, and we stand by officers who uphold our principles.'" Relief washed through Maya, though she kept her expression professional. "Thank you, Admiral." "Don't thank me yet," Cheng replied. "We've got a diplomatic situation to resolve." The Federation is embarrassed, Starlight Extraction is furious, and Earth has just established first contact with a new species without following any of the proper protocols. The circumstances were unusual, sir. They always are with humans, Cheng said with a hint of wry humor. That's why the Federation finds us so disturbing. We don't wait for committees when lives are at stake. He straightened. Stand by, Captain. I'll handle the Federation ambassador. On the surface, Elenis watched in wonder as Earth ships delivered medical supplies, food, and temporary shelters. Human doctors worked alongside Kilori healers, treating the injured and ill. Engineers began restoring water and power systems destroyed by the harvesters. You arrived just in time, the elder said to Maya, who had returned to the settlement. Another cycle, and we might have been extinct. I'm sorry we didn't come sooner, Maya replied. If we had known. Elenis's skin shifted to a serene violet. You came when no one else would. That is enough. Tivim approached, accompanied by several young Kilori. Since the operation, he had become something of a leader among the younger generation. Captain Chen, we wish to learn more about Earth, he said. About how your people think, how you found courage. Maya smiled. Courage was always within you, Tavim. You just needed the chance to discover it. Perhaps, he acknowledged. But we would still learn from you. The galaxy is more dangerous than we knew. The Kilori must adapt. Not by becoming violent, Elenis cautioned. No, Tavim agreed. But by learning to stand firm when necessary, by understanding when to yield and when to resist. Maya watched the exchange with interest. Already, the Kilori were changing, not becoming humans, but finding their own version of strength. 1 week later, Maya stood in Admiral Cheng's temporary office in the Earth Union Field Headquarters established on Kilora. Through the window, she could see reconstruction efforts already underway. The Federation Council has formally acknowledged the Kilori as a sentient species with sovereign rights to Kilora, Cheng informed her. Starlight Extraction's operations have been officially terminated, with reparations to be negotiated. And the broader implications? Maya asked. Cheng's expression was thoughtful. Earth Union has been granted observer status in the Federation, the first step toward possible membership. It seems our Deathworlder perspective is now considered valuable. Because we'll do what they won't, Maya surmised. Partly, Cheng acknowledged. But I think it's more than that. The Federation built a civilization around avoiding conflict at all costs. Sometimes that meant ignoring problems until they became catastrophes. They're beginning to realize that courage and compassion aren't mutually exclusive. He handed her a datapad. Your new orders, Captain. The Defiant will remain at Kilora as Earth's official representative while the Kilori rebuild. Additionally, you're authorized to establish formal diplomatic relations and offer them protectorate status under the Earth Union. Maya reviewed the orders, surprised at the significance of the assignment. This is a major policy shift, Admiral. Times are changing, Cheng replied. For too long, humanity has been isolated in the galaxy, feared rather than respected. The Kilori situation has opened doors. He regarded her steadily. You took an enormous risk, Captain. You could have started a war. I couldn't ignore their call for help, Maya said simply. No human could. That's exactly what the Federation is beginning to understand about us, Cheng said. They've spent millennia avoiding danger, creating elaborate bureaucracies to manage risk. Meanwhile, humans rush headlong into burning buildings to save strangers. He looked out the window at the mixed teams of humans and Kilori working together. They called us Deathworlders because our planet tried to kill us every day. They never understood that surviving a death world doesn't just make you strong or aggressive. It teaches you the value of helping others survive too. 3 months later, Maya stood with Elenis and Tavim at a ceremony marking the official alliance between Earth and Kilora. The rebuilding was well underway, with Earth providing technology and expertise, while the Kilori contributed their knowledge of sustainable development and ecological harmony. In attendance were representatives from 12 Federation worlds, not officially, but as observers. The Federation was changing too, slowly reconciling with the idea that perhaps humans had something valuable to offer. The harvesters came to take, Alanis said, addressing the gathered crowd. They saw only resources to be extracted, profit to be made. They did not see us. The elder's skin shimmered with emotion. The Federation heard our cries but decided we were not worth the complications. They did not want to see us. Alanis turned to where Maya and the other humans stood. But Earth heard our plea when no others would listen. These Deathworlders, these humans, saw us when we had been rendered invisible. They acted when others chose inaction. The elder raised all four arms in a traditional Kalori blessing. Today, we forge a new path together. Not as saviors and saved, but as allies. We will learn from Earth's courage, and Earth will learn from our harmony. Together, we will show the galaxy that compassion is not weakness, and strength need not be cruel. As applause filled the air, Maya caught the eye of a Federation observer, the same Valaxian ambassador who had confronted her 3 months earlier. The crystalline features arranged themselves into what might have been respect. Later, as the celebrations continued, Tavim approached Maya. His skin now regularly displayed patterns of determined amber and resolute gold, colors rarely seen in Kalori before the crisis. "I have been studying human history," he told her. "Your species has faced extinction many times, yet always found a way to survive." Maya nodded. "It's in our nature. When things get difficult, humans get creative." "The Federation feared this about you," Tavim observed. "Your unpredictability, your willingness to take risks." "And what do the Kalori think?" Maya asked. Tavim's skin rippled with new colors: hope, determination, and something like affection. "We think the galaxy needs more Deathworlders," he said simply. "Those who hear the calls no one else will answer." As night fell over the recovering world, Maya looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, perhaps other voices were crying out, other species facing extinction while bureaucracies deliberated and corporations calculated profit margins. Earth couldn't save everyone. But they could hear. They could answer. They could show the galaxy that sometimes the most dangerous species could also be the most compassionate. After all, that was the lesson of the Death World. Survival wasn't just about being the strongest or the most ruthless. It was about building communities, protecting the vulnerable, and facing impossible odds together. It was about hearing a plea from the void and saying, simply, "We're coming."